Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Lights Out with Ish and Eve. I'm Ish and this is Eve, and we are back for our final race discussion episode of 2024, Abu Dhabi.
I cannot believe.
Yeah, you must be feeling very good.
I feel great. It's been a good day.
Yes.
It was a stressful morning.
It was a hugely stressful morning. But I felt the need to wear my Ferrari shirt because at the end of the day, we still got a double Ferrari podium.
Yeah.
So
it was terrifying. I was like, one fucking thing goes wrong, we're done. Like, they were just right there. I was like, fuck off. But it was so stressful and it was so good.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, it was a lot.
I was not breathing easy.
No. It was a good race. It wasn't a banger.
No, but it was good.
But it was a good race, and I think the tension between what was just going to happen between Ferrari and McLaren.
The fact that there was a lot on the line.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
I agree.
So, no, it was a good watch, for sure.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, though, I just wanted to shout out, we got a lovely little comment on one of our videos today that I just wanted to read out. It said, "Very nice to see you representing women interested in a sport where it might be difficult to be taken seriously sometimes. Much more important and impressive is that you seem to really know your stuff well, especially for a newer fan." Which was really lovely because I think when we started this podcast back for the Canadian Grand Prix was when we started it. So we've done 2/3 of the season.
Which is crazy.
For this year, which is, so crazy. That was kind of what we wanted to do, was like create, I think, this piece of content like for women in the sport where, as this person sort of said, like typically women who make F1 content can be a little bit sort of underappreciated or
definitely
underestimated.
Yes.
For their
undervalued.
Yes, for their passion and knowledge and love of the sport. So
yes.
That was just really nice to hear.
Also, it's just nice because, like, one thing I didn't expect actually is our male audience as well.
Yeah.
Like, that's really nice because coming into, like, F1 content creation, you hear a lot, and there's definitely these people of the men who are like, "You're a woman, what would you know?"
Yeah.
But, like, we get a lot of, like, lovely
We do.
people across the board, and I was expecting, like, a significant swing towards the girlies, but it's not.
Yeah, which is
Like,
surprising and nice.
This is nice. I was like, there's hope.
So yes, if you do enjoy our content, please feel free to drop us a comment or a message.
Makes us happy.
It does make us happy and it really helps us out. So do really appreciate that. So back to the weekend.
Should we talk about quickly prior to the weekend?
Yes.
The development of the Max v George beef.
Yes, let's start there. Because there was a lot of storylines coming into this weekend.
Yeah.
And the biggest one was George v Max.
Which is just crazy. It's like, what? Like, and I said this last week, I was like, it's done.
I know.
I get that it's about principle.
Yeah.
And, like, we've seen those two kind of go at it before.
Yes.
Clearly, they're just different personalities. This is like the conclusion I've come to.
Yes.
I'm like, they're just different personalities. They just deal with things differently.
Yes.
Max is like, nip it in the butt, shut the fuck up, let's move on.
Yes.
Like, don't ask me stupid questions.
Yeah.
Don't be a twat. I will get angry at you, but, like, let's move on.
Yeah.
George is, like, righteous.
Yes.
He's the head of the GDPA.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
He's like, I want everyone to know, and this is what's right, and this is what's good, and, like, this is how it should be, and, like, standing up for what's right, and, like, all of this. And I'm like,
yeah. And, like, I totally get the points on both sides of, like, you know, Max made some quite personal comments about George, which probably wasn't appropriate to talk about in the press, but equally, like, George just kind of kept pushing Max and, like...
But I think that's kind of the thing. It was like, if, like, George was kind of like, well, you're going to say those things about me.
Yeah.
I'm going to... Because the thing what I thought is, like, what my mum said, she was like, I would have loved for George to just be like, I'm not getting involved. Like,
Totally.
just stepping back. But I'm like, people then would have been like, well, he's clearly in the wrong. He's clearly lying. He's clearly, like, you know.
And the thing was, George never denied making, like, certain statements in the steward's room. So it's sort of like, okay, well, maybe Max was right to be angry about that stuff, but he doesn't need to drag you through the press, but then you didn't need to come back at him. And
but also, like, because his whole thing about, like, Max is, like, bullying and, like, intimidating people and, like, all of this. And then, like, I thought it was really interesting to hear, this was an FP2, from Nico Rosberg's perspective on it.
Yeah.
Because he knows a thing or two about driver feuds. And I love Nico Rosberg on the commentary.
I know. When I saw he was commentating on this weekend, I was like, yes!
I was like, this is cinema. But he was kind of saying, like, that's what I want to see from George. That's what I want to see from other drivers. Like, coming out and being like, I'm going to take it to you, reigning world champion. I don't care. I'm not going to be shut up by you calling me names in the press.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'd love to see that from Lando. And I'm like, you're not gonna. If Lando whispered, if he thought those thoughts, he would be executed on the spot. So, but also it was just like fun to hear from. But it was just a bit of fun. I wished that I saw, it was in my predictions that they would have more beef. I wished that they like lined up next to each other on the grid or something.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
But Max took out someone else instead.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
But was there anything else coming into the weekend?
Max and Kelly,
Oh my
congratulations.
god! Yeah, I didn't write it down because I was like, there's no way I'm gonna forget to. The way...
Congratulations, girly pop.
Yeah. Good for you.
Wow.
Good for both of them.
Good for both of them.
People have their opinions on that whole relationship. I just think they're two trauma-bonded children of assholes. So... Like, good for them. I think it's really sweet.
Two trauma-bonded children is crazy.
Think about it!
I know. That's so funny. True.
That's what I was thinking about. I was
Damn.
like, because I saw Max talk about it and they were like, will they be into racing? And he was like, I hope not.
I was like, I hope so. But God, you just pray for the other children that grow up at that time that are also going karting and they see Verstappen PK on the
go
list
home.
Yeah, of who they're racing.
I'd go home.
See ya. I'm gonna check out.
Like, I'm out. But yeah, Max was like, he was like, obviously if he or she like wants to, I'll support it, but I really hope not. I was like,
Yeah.
just keep your father out of it and I think you should be fine.
Fine.
Anyway, I think good for them.
It will.
Super cute. He's
And
already such a good stepdad.
I know, I love how he was like, well, it's not really like my first, like, I already feel like a bonus dad.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
I know, and I love it's not like stepdad either, it's bonus dad. It's not like replacing Danny Kvyat.
Which is exactly what he did on a professional level.
Yeah. Anyway. We're not here to talk about the personal lives. Congratulations to Max and Kelly. Let's get into the race weekend.
Correct. We'll start at FP1.
FP1 was the juniors.
Yes. As F2 2.0.
Yeah, literally.
Obviously the main story from FP1 was Arthur and Charles being able to drive together, which it was looking like for a second wasn't gonna happen.
I was like, no, he has to go out.
And I was like, please. It was obviously very sweet when they got to kind of have their little moment together and Charles like waved.
And Arthur was like, sorry, just waving at my brother.
Yeah.
When they showed Arthur helmet cam and it was like just his eyes through his helmet, I was like, that is Charles.
Even just hearing them talk, they have like the same voice.
I don't think they look similar side by side. Yeah. You can see that they're brothers.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they look overly similar. But when it was just the eyes and the helmet, I was like, whoa. Who is that?
I know, but that was very sweet. I did love how the commentators kept being like, Arthur Leclerc, Charles, wait. Like, that was very funny. And Arthur's like, Lel. Yeah,
I was expecting like ALE and
Me
CLE.
too. Yeah. Well, I figured Charles would keep LEC because he's like the OG.
He's Lec. Yeah.
He is Lec. But yeah, I figured Arthur would be
ALE. Yeah. Ale. Slay.
But I guess not.
Anyway.
But yeah. And obviously Charles not coming out was due to a battery issue, which meant that he had to go over his allocation, which meant that he got a 10-place penalty.
And you'd already turned it off.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's done, I'll turn it off. And then Evie messaged me and was like, are you watching FP1? And I was like, oh yeah.
Because I didn't know, like, first of all, like, sometimes we don't watch them live,
Yeah.
so we don't want to, like, tell each other any spoilers, like, if I haven't seen it. So I said, are you watching? And you were like, yeah, I just finished. And I was like...
You were like...
and you're in a good mood?
And I was like, what's happened?
I was like, Charles is a 10-place grid drop.
I was like, what?
Yeah. What do you mean, bro?
I like turned it back on and like rewound like the bit. Yeah, I was like, no.
You're like, is she pranking me? Is she taking the piss?
Well, I just wanted to know why.
Yeah.
I mean, I figured it was something to do with like, wow, they couldn't get it out. But I was just like, oh.
But the new battery did him well.
It did. Very well.
That new battery said, see ya.
Yeah.
But yeah, Williams also double gearbox penalty.
Bro. Williams mechanics, please enjoy your Christmas, your New Year's, your
I
time
think
off.
all mechanics.
No, but yes.
Breathe easy, Williams
But
mechanics.
yeah.
No one can crash a car.
Yeah.
For
Take
like
a
a few months.
Yeah. So, love that for them. Isaac Hadjar also had like a little kind of moment during FP1.
He's fiery. I was watching F2 over the weekend.
Were you?
Because it was like the championship decider.
Yes.
And I was like, it was between Isaac Hadjar, Gabriel Bortoleto, and Paul Aaron.
Yes.
All of whom could be in F1 next year. Bortoleto is.
Yes.
Paul Aaron's reserve at Alpine.
Yes.
Hadjar has dropped that he's going to be driving an RB next year.
Yeah.
But like
unconfirmed.
but he just like kind of let slip a little bit.
Yes.
And I was like, I need to see these three kids because I've seen like bits about them
Yeah.
and little bits of their racing and stuff. Bortoleto won the championship.
Yes, I did see that.
McLaren Jr. going to Sauber, have fun in P20.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I know.
But yeah, that's fun.
So I think that was FP1. That was kind of the main points.
Two. I think we're gonna say the same thing. When you looked at the Williams garage and it was genuinely duct tape.
Yeah. I was
We've
like
been joking about the Williams car being super glued together.
Yeah, and it was.
It was genuinely duct taped together. I was like,
Oh, and then like
they double DNF to the practice session.
yeah, because Colapinto had that off and then caused damage, and then
Alex's
had
gearbox said,
see you later. Oh, they just could not catch a break.
honestly, prefer them doing that in practice than in the race.
Of course, but
It happened in the race as well.
I was like, hang on a minute. So yeah, that was kind of FP2 really.
Yeah, FP3, I thought Ferrari had another issue.
Yeah, things were not looking good for Ferrari come FP3,
Yeah.
and things were looking very good for McLaren.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I was like, Charles got a 10-place grid penalty, McLaren are the fastest car. It's game over.
It's not looking good, Rev.
Yeah. So that was practice.
Because McLaren 1-2'd FP2, FP3.
Yeah.
And then quali. But could have been the race too. Do you think they would have 1-2'd the race?
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Like, they clearly, you know.
At the pace.
Yeah.
I think things would have been very, very fun if it was 2 McLarens and 2 Ferraris up there.
Yeah.
I think that would have caused...
Because I don't think Oscar would have had the pace to keep Carlos at bay in the same way that Lando did.
Yeah.
Like, Lando just kept
Because
the
Lando
gap.
didn't check out until, like, the end.
Yeah. He
I mean-
sort of maintained that, yeah. He maintained that sort of, like, 3.5, 4 second gap.
For the
but never
solid, like,
really-
first 20, 25 laps or something.
Yeah, whereas I don't know whether Oscar would have been able to do that in the same
Yeah.
way. So it might have been more battling
Which would have
with
been
Carlos, which would have been
wasteful.
insane. But anyway. So yeah, so that was kind of practice. And then...
I have a very funny thing that I picked up on the quali broadcast.
Yes.
Talking about the Max and George thing and how they kind of wanted them to, like, line up next to each other. And I don't know if you saw this, but it was on the broadcast with her and Nico Rosberg was there. And she said something along the lines of, like, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but you always seem to qualify right next to someone that you've been having a little bit of a tiff with. And Nico Rosberg's there, like, it's like, if
like,
you guys have experienced this.
He's like, I'm the queen of F1 tiffs.
Yeah. And qualifying right next to them.
Yeah.
Not only qualifying next to them, like 1-2 on the grid.
Yeah.
and beating the shit out of each other for a win every weekend. Like,
I saw a meme that was like Nico Rosberg and Jensen Button just texting each other all weekend. So over Danica Patrick.
I saw something and it was like a screenshot of Jensen Button and then like a screenshot of Nico Rosberg.
Yeah.
And they were both like, and it's like they're looking at the same person, by the way. And I'm like,
honestly. And I don't want to be like ragging on Danica, but like, God.
I'm like, she's really like not doing a good job for like promoting women in the sport.
No. Bernie Collins and Naomi Schiff.
Yeah.
So elite.
Yeah. And the other ones as well. There's a few around.
Yes.
Like, who's the guy who does the one on stage? Adriana Bravo, like Ruth Boscom.
Natalie Pinkham.
Yeah.
Love all of them so much.
Slay. Danica Patrick.
Let's say. Anyway, Quali. So Q1,
Dramatic.
yes, obviously Lewis was the big drop off. Watching him qualify P18 on his last race at Mercedes was brutal. I was just the defeat of like, oh, because you just wanted it to be and like obviously it ended up being a good weekend, but you just at that point in time you just wanted it to be a good weekend for him so much,
especially after last week.
Yeah. Like, oh, it was just so, like, demoralizing.
Yeah.
Like, no.
And then, like, but almost it made it a little bit better, the fact that he didn't just qualify P18. Like, there was a very, very clear reason.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was the bollard.
Yes.
I loved the ongoing meme over the weekend after Kevin Magnussen put on Instagram that he was going to try and help Nico get a podium.
Yeah.
And it's like, what murder is this man willing to commit to get Nico on the podium?
I know.
But,
so funny.
Yeah.
But speaking of K-Mag, he put in, like, an amazing lap.
Yeah.
In Q1.
Both classes were flying in
Yeah. And he set that lap and then on the following laps that both McLarens did, they could not top his time.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
It's like, Alpine better watch out.
Yeah, honestly.
But it was not to be.
No.
Speaking of Alpine, though, Jack Doohan obviously qualified P20, which, look, I'll be first in line cheering for Jack Doohan as like a fellow Australian next year. Did I think he should have been there this weekend? Absolutely not.
No.
And I was a little bit like, Alpine, that's karma.
Yeah, literally. But also, he showed signs.
Yeah.
I thought. Because in I know it's a practice session, but his Alpine compared to Gasly's Alpine, completely different car. Completely different setup upgrades wise.
Are they?
Yeah. Has been
like, I know it was in Qatar.
It still is.
Oh.
Yeah. And even Ocon's car versus Gasly's car the last few weekends have been like, Gasly's was heavily upgraded and Ocon's was not. Hence the frequent massive gap. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I do know that played a part. And that was like my saving grace. I was like, the car's not better. He's not comparable to Gasly. He's not comparable to Gasly. The car is not the same. Ocon was doing this as well. It's like,
yeah.
And in one of the practice sessions, he finished like less than a 10th behind Gasly. And I was like, but also, I guess we'll see next year.
Yeah.
And also, it's his first race out and he didn't crash. So,
no, totally.
Anyone that doesn't win it on their first race gets a tick from me.
Kudos. But yeah, I did see that and I was just like, well,
did better in the race.
Yes.
At least.
Yes.
I will not let you slag off this man.
Fair. But that was just my opinion. That was my opinion.
It's my opinion.
Okay. So then we got to Q2 and I wanted to throw myself out the window.
Yeah, that was crazy. Because there was a bit of a trend of the lap time deletion.
Yes.
Q1, Perez's lap time gets deleted.
Yeah.
Reinstated.
Yes.
That's
we didn't even talk about that in Q1.
Yeah.
Perez obviously got knocked out too.
No, he didn't. He went through.
Oh, wait, no. Yeah.
Because he got his lap time reinstated.
He was going to get knocked out and then he got his lap time.
Yeah. He got reinstated. Yeah. And it was because it was so close. And I was like, you know what? People with more fucking Zoom than me are making this decision.
Yeah.
Whatever. Because it looked on the line. Like, it looked...
Yeah.
Same with Oscar's one later.
Yes.
Like, on the line.
Yeah.
Like, super clear. And the Oscar one I'm, like, less fussed about because obviously it didn't end up mattering.
Yeah.
But, like, the Perez one would have had a massive impact. He would have been out in Q1.
Yeah.
The Charles one, massive impact.
And
it did. But that one was out.
Yes.
Definitely.
Charles's was definitely out.
Because I saw some people online, like, flipping back and forth between, like, the Perez and Charles one and being like, look, they're the same. And I'm like, you can see.
You can,
fucking
yeah,
thing.
you could actually, on Charles's one, you could actually see the blue
Yeah.
of the, like...
The ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Charles's was definitely out.
Not by much, but it was.
Yeah. And, like, just
happens.
turn one was just getting everybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was very sad
I was like,
about
see
that.
ya.
But, and I thought it was very funny that, like, both future Ferrari teammates were just skulking at the back for
Yeah.
the grid for the last race.
Yeah, I was like, where are your hopes now, Ferrari?
Yeah.
Remember that guy you fired?
Yeah.
That's your only hope now. I mean, it didn't turn out that way. But at the time, I was like,
Damn.
interesting decision. See what your dear faithful, your future prospects, P18 and P19.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not looking great.
No.
So I was very sad. But also slay to Valtteri Bottas making it through.
I was so excited for him. I so wanted him to get a points finish.
I know. So sad. But anyways,
big slay to him for getting through.
yes, because then in Q3, well, first of all,
Mhm.
I feel like the craziest part of Q3 was Max
Yeah.
nearly going into the pit wall.
That was crazy.
insane. I was like watching that. I was like,
Yeah.
like what?
Yeah, and also because, like, I feel like it's been so long since we've seen something like that from Max
Totally.
in, like, a quali.
Yeah.
In a race, he'll be doing wild shit. But, like, in a quali, like, on his own thing, like, not in the rain, not in
Yeah.
anything, like,
Just
just
his
have a
own
huge
mistake.
moment like
Yeah.
that.
I know.
And then the fact that he still went fastest, I was like, bruh. I thought he went off track limits. I was like, of course.
Yeah.
Keeps that
managed
one
to
wheel
keep it-
planted.
Yeah.
And still, like, go fastest. I was like, bruh. And his time stood for a little while, too.
Yeah.
I was like,
It was very Max poor.
yeah, I know. I was like, good for you, King.
And then Nico Hulkenberg qualified P4. I mean, obviously he got his penalty afterwards and down to
I was
P7.
shattered when I heard of his penalty.
I know.
Oh, no.
Because you were messaging me and you were like, I don't know who I want to sacrifice in the top 3 so that Nico can get
A podium.
a podium.
I was like, the McLaren 1-2 is sacred.
yes.
Carlos on the podium for his last race with Ferrari. I want that desperately.
Yeah.
But, oh my god. I wanted Nico Hulkenberg. I was like, he's so close.
I
He's
know.
so close. But then obviously the penalty, and then it was never really realistic.
Yes.
But
yes, and McLaren obviously got their front row lockout, which they
That's
were very
very
happy
slay.
about. I did love how in the like post quali sort of just stuff that like coverage that they were doing, and Nico Rosberg was interviewing Zach Brown,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was like, so what's the plan in terms of like the start tomorrow and team orders? And Zach was sort of like, like we'll get something together overnight, la la la.
Well,
kind
like
of
they
joking.
know that, like,
They
you know,
know.
like, the goal is to bring home the constructors. Like, they
Yeah.
know what they need to do.
And Nico was like, no. He was like, in my experience.
Yeah. I highly recommend reminding them.
Yeah. He was like, let me tell you.
Yeah. He's like, even if you think it's obvious, I highly recommend saying it anyway. I was like, bro, you carry so much baggage, and I love it.
He just really, just has not let 2016 go.
But it's hilarious. But also, like, when that's what you retire on,
Totally. Of course. It is a lot.
he's just iconic.
He really is. Love
Even
him
just,
dearly.
like, winning the 2016 championship and just retiring.
Yeah.
Like, that's iconic.
For real.
Being the only person to, like, ever beat Lewis Hamilton in equal machinery and then just retiring on the spot.
Yeah.
Iconic.
What a slay.
I know the situation was dicey,
Yes.
but it's iconic. I don't care.
No, I love it. And that was kind of quali, unless you had anything
Yeah.
else to talk about.
No, I've got a few fun things to talk about before we get into the race.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lando was presented with the fastest lap of the year trophy. I don't know if you saw this.
I did
He
not.
won the fastest lap of the year with 6 fastest laps this year,
Ah.
compared to everybody else's 3 or less.
Love.
So that was a slay. Also, Lewis rocking up in full
I had this too.
red.
Yeah, getting to the paddock on race day in full red. Bright red.
Oh.
Scarlet Ferrari red. I was
And,
like,
the progression. Friday he wore white. Saturday he wore white with like red and white patchy jeans and a red jacket. And then Sunday he wore full red. And I was like,
an icon.
It's iconic, but I'm also like, you're still with Mercedes, Pookie. Like, do you really want to go out on a good note? Like, you're saying all this shit about going out on a good note and then you do that. You know, like, it's funny.
Yeah.
And it's like, obviously he wants to like draw like, it's show stopping.
Yes.
But I was a bit like if I'd worked for Mercedes, I would have been a bit like, you know, it's a bit, I feel like it would have been a bit like,
I think
and
it's
they
like...
promptly gave him a Tommy Hilfiger outfit to get into.
Yeah.
But it was, I was like,
it's a statement, like, you know, and I think for the people that were there, like, they know how he feels about the team and the people and all that sort of stuff. So they're not going to be like phased.
Okay.
I know. No. I thought it was very funny. But yeah, and then, so obviously we got to the race.
Yes.
And all the, like, thank yous in the formation lap from, like, Franco and Valtteri and the drivers that were leaving. It was just like, oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, it's so sad.
I know.
Like, what do you mean I'm not going to have Bottas around?
I know.
And, like, it makes me sad that Ricciardo didn't get to do it.
I know.
It makes me really sad that he didn't get to do it.
I know.
And, like, oh my god, did you see the video from Haas of K-Mag's daughter, like, helping him get ready for quali?
I did. Oh, all the tributes that the teams did
for
their drivers.
Talk about that.
Yeah, over the weekend was so sweet.
And even, like, the teammate tributes.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, Charles's helmet.
Oh. Oh, cute.
And then George's one, and Joe's one.
Yeah.
K-Mag's one.
I know. Carlos's, like, race suit that had all of his, like, podiums and wins on the back, and, like, smooth operator and, like, little chili emojis.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh.
Just so cute.
I know. Joe's helmet that had, like, photos.
And it was like, thank you, Valtteri on it.
I was like, oh, so cute.
Anyway.
Yes, it was very sweet.
The start of the race was less cute.
The start of the race was less cute. It was really quite cute for me, but less cute for you.
Yes.
So,
really not cute for me. Like, just put the stress in my soul immediately.
Yeah. So lights go out and Max Verstappen absolutely sends it into turn one.
And into the side of Oscar Piastri.
It was a very, like, I feel like typical Max move of, like, I'm just gonna not hit the brakes on...
It's like, move or get hit.
Yeah.
Your pick.
And, yeah, exactly. It was like, whatever happens, happens. Like, I'm gonna hit the inside line of this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, like, a huge, like, crash.
No,
it was kind of a little touch, but it was just the angle and the way that it happened ended up sending them both spinning. But in typical Max Verstappen fashion, he did his little spin and then kept going, whereas Oscar got thrown off the road.
Facing the wrong way. Oscar was so funny on the radio after.
Yes.
He was like, move of a world champion, that one. Like,
sass.
I love Oscar.
I know.
For those moments.
Yeah.
People are like, he's boring, like, he has no emotion. And I'm like, you don't get it. Like, it's so funny.
Yeah, he's
just
so
the
dry.
And
like,
that to everyone else, being like, you fuck.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious.
No, I love it.
Also, the seas, like, parted for Carlos. Carlos was quite close to being another bystander.
Totally. But just, they both spun out of the way and Carlos just went
me too. And
it was
as
great.
I said last week, the stats that Lando is, like, getting better now.
Yes.
Now it's even better.
True.
Which I just have to acknowledge because it makes me happy.
Yes.
Because the haters can't.
But that was not the only lap one incident.
Yeah.
They continued
Yes.
with Perez, obviously, and Bottas.
One of my memes of the weekend I have to bring up right now because it's really funny.
Yes.
Where is it? I screenshotted it because I thought I would forget it.
Yeah.
It's this little meme. I don't know.
But
it's I'm about to read it out, but I'm like, it's like Max spinning in lap 1, Perez, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
like, people keep telling me to be more like Max.
Because it was like Max spun and then like the next corner.
Yeah. Perez like, oh my god, same.
He's like, oh, now I can too.
Yeah. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm driving like Max.
Max. But I thought that meme was so funny, and I just
That is
like
so funny.
hilarious, right?
I just, yeah, when he spun, I was just like, so I think that I think today, actually, the big wigs at Red Bull, they're deciding whether or not Perez keeps his
Apparently, Helmut Marko said, so take it with a grain of salt,
handful of salt.
that just dunk yourself in some salt and then listen to what I have to say. That they're going to be announcing both driver lineups in the next few days.
Interesting.
So you can put a little graphic across the screen, because that always happens.
Yeah. While I'm editing. Bing. But yeah, so yeah, I heard that like the day after the Grand Prix or whatever, they were gonna have a meeting about what was going on. So
about damn time. Honestly, I've given up trying to predict.
I know. But now the rumors are like Liam Lawson's gonna get the seat. I'm just
Pookie Tsunoda!
Pookie! Oh, I don't know. Anyways.
I mean, RB are trying to like ruin both of them, so Anyway, Charles, on the other hand,
Charles up to from P19 to P8
on lap 1.
On lap 1. That could could not have gone.
Drove past them. Did you see the replay?
Yeah.
Like into turn 1, he just went to the outside and just cleared like 6 people on the way into turn 1. I'm like,
and then in the Perez incident, just cleared another bunch of people. I was like,
are you? I've seen a lot of like Mario Kart bullet memes. It's like Charles on lap 1.
I watched him like climb the timing tower, and I was like,
hello. Yeah. Meanwhile, Oscar was like,
yeah. So that was incredible.
Because after lap 1, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's on.
Yeah, because I was like, if anything happens to Lando, we're cooked.
Yeah.
Because then Oscar got his 10-second penalty. Because first of all, I was like, we can recover this. Like, Lando recovered last week after only getting knocked down to the back of the field with like 15 laps to go or something.
Yeah.
Like, we can definitely recover this to points. Definitely not the 1-2, but like, we can recover this to points. And then he got the 10-second penalty for ramming Frankito, and I was like,
ramming Frankito. I know. Well, Oscar was kind of like a double victim in the sense that like he obviously got sent by Max, and then that obviously screwed up the start of his race, and then he went into the back of Franco, but like
Franco moved, like
I think he just didn't realize how quickly he was coming up on Franco, and then
it was a weird one.
It was,
and like it was his fault.
It was, but it was
he wouldn't have been in that situation if he hadn't been by Max.
Yeah, so, and then obviously he got that 10-second, so it was sort of like a double victim.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you're not having a good day, are you?
I know, but poor Franco then having to retire his last race. So sad.
Yeah. What do you think of the penalties over the weekend? Because the FIA did, again, what they were doing in Qatar, which was just decisions, penalty. But what the commentary was saying was that apparently that's what the drivers have been calling for.
Yes.
To be more harsh. Because people were like, we've seen worse into turn 1 with no penalties than what Max did to Oscar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in my opinion, rather clear penalty.
Yeah.
But like, true. Like the first corner in Austin.
Totally. I think at the end of the day, like, if that's what the drivers are asking for, and there was apparently a drivers' meeting in Qatar.
Photo.
Yeah.
Of all of them. They made George and Max.
The dinner?
No, not the dinner. The GDPA one?
Yeah.
And like,
you know, yes, they had them sit right in the front. Yeah.
It's like, this is our get along shirt.
Yes. But yeah, so there was apparently a meeting after Qatar, so like, if that's what they were asking for, then of course they're going to now apply slightly different rules to what's been applied in the past. And I think like, if that's what they're asking for and they want harsher penalties to prevent collisions, then they should, because
Yeah, I
You should
agree.
be trying to prevent collisions.
Yeah, I agree. And like, because some people online were like, oh, like that was just a first corner incident, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but
he like
he does
sent
that
it without
as well.
really like.
And I'm like, just because he hasn't been penalised for this in the past, he thinks he can keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to stop doing it.
No.
Because also on the radio as well, when he was like, just ask for 20 seconds, fucking idiots.
Yeah.
I was like...
Stupid idiots.
Stupid
actually.
idiots. True. He's learnt his lesson. He doesn't want more
Yeah.
community service. But I was like, come on, Max. A little bit. I was a bit like...
Yeah.
It was funny. I laughed.
Yes.
But I was like... But he did also, like, Oscar said in his post-race interview, he was like, oh yeah, Max came and apologised, like, immediately.
Totally.
Like...
Yeah.
I have no beef with Max, but I was just a bit like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, no, I think he definitely deserved that penalty. I was kind of fine with all the penalties that were given out.
That was just a lot more than we've seen,
Yeah.
not last week, but like
Prior to that.
Like,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
definitely. But anyways, so, like, crazy start aside, Charles drove an amazing race.
Yeah.
He was just flying through the field. And then my panic started to become George Russell. Because I was like, bro, get out of here.
I didn't even think of him.
I was like, this is not your moment. I was like, because the podium at sort of the halfway point was looking like Lando, Carlos, Charles. And I was like, please give me a Lando, Carlos, Charles podium. I mean,
but like,
I would have been happy if Lando
in a different order.
Yes, correct. But I was just like, give me that Carlando, that like
Carlos.
yeah, like give me that podium. And then George just kind of kept sticking around, and I was like, piss off. Right now. I was like, this is not about you.
Yeah.
And then like Lewis was obviously starting to make his way through the field, and I was
Lewis
like,
was
okay,
cooking on that reverse strat. His first stint, like he went for so long on his first stint, and it put him in such a good position.
Yeah, for those mediums at the end.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. And then I was like, please catch George. And then because I was just like, obviously I knew he wasn't going to get on the podium because it was just slightly too far.
And also like, I was a bit far, but like, Charles was so far behind Carlos.
Yeah, like 20 seconds plus.
Like the whole time.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It was just, I was just like, George, get out of here. It's not about you.
You had Vegas.
Yeah. But anyways.
So you can join the party next year.
Yes, exactly. But Lando really just drove like the textbook perfect
Bro, the pit stop from McLaren.
Yeah.
Oh, that was my one of my biggest stress points of the whole race.
I was like, mess it up.
I was like, woo! Because he's had moments. Or was it him or Oscar? Someone like 10 races ago, like really badly missed their marks. Oscar's
been a bit of a
mark misser, front jackman, terrorist.
Yeah, been a bit of a terrorist.
But when Carlos came in and stopped, I was like, obviously we've got the buffer, about 4 seconds, pretty good.
Yeah.
But nothing can go wrong. And even the commentary were like, this pit stop for the McLaren team is so high pressure. This is the one.
Yeah.
And they clean flat 2 seconds it.
Yeah.
And he was back out into the lead of the race.
So good.
And that's the only time I thought he was ever really in danger. Because he came out just out of DRS of Carlos.
Yeah.
Or 1.5.
Yeah.
And, Carlos was pushing and he had to maybe push a little bit harder. Ended up pushing too hard, wearing out his tires and falling back. But that was the point in time where I was like, if Lando can keep clear here, we're good.
Yeah. And he
Given asterisk safety car.
Totally. And a lot gets said about Lando and his ability to perform in high pressure moments, and he bottled this and he bottled that and blah, blah, blah. But he really just nailed the race.
He did.
And it was the most high pressure it could possibly be because of what happened to Oscar. He did not have a rear gunner.
All on his shoulders. He had no backup.
He had P2 and the Constructors' Championship with both Ferraris behind him.
Or, it was so stressful when I was looking at it. It was McLaren, Ferrari. I was like, oh, I was like, this is so stressful.
Yeah, and he delivered.
He did. And, like, it just is one of those things where it's like, he's just not used to fighting at the front yet. It's a learning process. Has been all year for McLaren as a team.
Yeah.
For him.
Yeah.
And for Oscar, like, just I think Oscar's more like general learning as well.
Yeah.
Like, just goes to show, like, progress is being made.
It is.
Progress is being made. This is 2 weekends in a row where he's been on pole and hasn't bottled the start.
Yep. No, absolutely. And like you said, next year's my year.
Yeah. And I love that from him because he, this whole year, never wanted to talk about the drivers.
Yeah.
Never wanted to, like, talk, like, it wasn't kind of valid because to win this year, he would have had to overcome, like, a history-breaking margin.
Totally.
Could have been done, obviously.
Yeah, it was always going to be a long shot, though.
Exactly. But people were kind of acting as if he's fucking terrible for not winning it.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But I love that. Like, next year's my year. Like,
yes. It was a great...
Let's go!
Totally. It was a great race for him to go into the winter break.
With that confidence.
Yes, exactly. Same with Lewis.
Yeah.
Great race for him to go into the winter break with. So, that was great.
Should we talk about Liam Lawson quickly?
Yes.
What the fuck? RB
had a terrible weekend.
What are you doing?
I know.
The light went green, so Liam drove off.
Yep.
And then they were like, we didn't get to tighten it. He's like, the light was green.
Yeah.
Like, he did his job.
That was bad.
Yeah. Like, obviously, the mechanics, sometimes they do take a little bit longer. It happens.
For sure.
But, like, the light going green.
Yeah. Not
like,
good.
who did that?
Yeah. Yeah, the RBs were not.
No.
Driving.
Yeah.
I
I just thought that was kind of funny because then he just like went from bad to worse because he had to come back in, get new tires, and then come back in for a 10 seconds top go.
I know.
I was like, oh my god, you've just made 3 pit stops.
I know.
When it should have just been 1.
I know. Speaking of sort of chaos at the back of the grid, obviously Bottas and K-Mag then had
that was a rather large incident.
Yes.
Not really, but...
And I thought it was, when it happened, I was like,
safety car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, it's Bottas helping Lewis one last time.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because at that time, like, Lewis would have hadn't pitted yet.
Oh my god.
So it would have been so good for Lewis if it was a safety car. And I was like, oh my god, it's Bottas helping Lewis.
I didn't even think of that. I was just like, oh my god, Hamilton is in the best possible position right now if there's a safety car.
But they didn't call
And
it.
also, I was worried for Lando.
Yes.
If they called a safety car. Because the last thing I wanted, like, he already didn't bottle the first start, was a safety car restart with both Ferraris up his ass. That's the last thing I wanted.
Yes.
So but then I was also like, debris on the track. Debris on the track? Last time this happened, 2 people got punctures.
Yeah. Oh my god, at one point Carlos was like, I think I have a puncture.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
I was like, get out of here. Illy, but get out of here.
Yeah. The moment where as well, I think it was just a bit after, like, you know, that Bottas and K-Mag moment happened. Lewis, Fernando Alonso, and Max Verstappen were all like...
And I was like, that's 11 world championships.
Yeah, I was like, damn, that's
11?
really like...
No, 13. What?
No. Lewis
13.
has 7, Max has 4, and Fernando has 2.
13.
Yeah. Wait, yes. I was like, maths.
Yeah, I said 11 and then it's 13.
Yeah.
But I also noticed that and I was like, wow.
I was like, that's really...
This is a picture of greatness.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool. They didn't really end up kind of scrapping.
Nothing really happened.
Yeah, I wanted them to scrap, but they didn't.
Fernando Alonso kind of got with it this weekend. Oscar could not clear Aston Martins.
Yeah.
I mean, getting stuck behind Alonso is one thing. Getting stuck behind Stroll?
Yeah. Move along.
I was like, oh.
I know.
That Aston Martin is slow.
I know. So then we obviously inched our way towards the end, and then on the final lap,
Yeah.
yellow flag.
Yeah.
And I think everyone had flashbacks to Abu Dhabi 2021.
I was a little panicked.
And
I was also like, good in
Yeah.
a way. I was like, depending on what it is, good. Because it was the last lap already.
Mm.
So I was like, Michael Massey's not here, so it will end under safety car.
I was literally like, oh my god, if Logan Sargent and Michael Massey were here right now, Ferrari would win the Constructors' Championship.
Literally.
But yeah, I mean,
Luckily,
like,
we've learned and moved on from that.
yes. But I initially thought it was Lando
Oh.
because they weren't showing Lando on the screen, but I was
Yeah.
looking at his time, so I was like trying to work out what had happened and like
Yeah.
what it was stopping. And Lando's time to Carlos like dropped a little bit, but I think that was just him lifting for the yellow flag.
But
I was like-
you were like, yeah,
For like 0.3 seconds. I was
Yeah.
like,
I didn't even think of that. I was too busy watching George and Lewis scrapping.
yeah.
Because I was like, first of all, I was like, well, George let Lewis through, he's a sentimental man. But I was like,
Sorry, the light just...
I thought I was going to like explode for a second.
Yeah, I was like,
Girl, you good?
yellow flag.
Yeah. Literally, track clear.
Yeah.
But George and Lewis, like, scrapping, because there was a lot on the line there. There wasn't. Whatever, what's a place between friends? But Lewis, this is going to be one of my fun facts. You've probably seen this. Coming into this weekend, yeah, Lewis and George were on exactly the same amount of points in their time as teammates.
Yes.
So whoever finished ahead
Mm-hmm.
would have won their time as teammates.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm sure, as much as George loves Lewis, and as
He
much...
wasn't just going to let him have that.
No. As much as he's like, this was my childhood idol, like, I've loved being teammates with you,
Yeah.
to get one up on him,
Absolutely.
over the span of your time as teammates,
Yeah.
I'm sure he would have loved that.
Oh, yeah. But Lewis got him.
Yeah.
Fair and square.
Yeah, good overtake too.
Yeah. Right at the end. It was so, like, hard to watch because as Lewis was overtaking George, Lando was crossing
winning,
the
yeah.
finish line. So, like, obviously the F1 team, I think they did their best given the, like,
Yeah, it was
situation.
awkward though.
Yeah.
Because they didn't really give either, like, the moment that it deserved.
Yes.
But they couldn't really. 'Cause
Yeah.
they were both, like, such big things.
I know. So that was a little bit unfortunate, but yeah, I was really happy that Lewis ended up coming fourth,
Yeah.
especially given he qualified.
So far back. Yeah,
So
like,
far back.
amazing recovery drives from both him and Charles.
Yeah, incredible.
Crazy.
And then like at the end when Toto was like, that was a drive of a world champion. I was
Yeah.
like, oh!
And he was like, if we're not winning, like, you, at least you should be winning.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, that's cute.
So Evie in her predictions predicted that I would shed a tear over the Ferrari C2 breakup. And I did. Right at the end, when Carlos, like, was doing his in-lap and he was like, Forza Ferrari. And I was like,
And I think he said, like, Forza Ferrari siempre.
yeah.
But it's the Italian word. That's the Spanish word.
Yeah.
But whatever the word for always is in Italian,
It's
like,
sempre. Like, it's just
without the
E,
E.
yeah.
Okay, but they said that, and I was like, "That's cute."
I know,
I'm
I
like, this
shed a
is
little
clearly
tear.
his heart team. Like, his heart and soul is with Ferrari,
Yeah.
and like, he'll do obviously everything he can to be competitive in the Williams. But like,
I could see him going back to Ferrari.
yeah, I mean, Charles was like alluding to it.
Yeah.
Charles was shattered, bro, after the race.
Yeah.
Absolutely shattered. His radio, and he was like smashing the steering wheel and
I
stuff.
know.
He was kind of funny on the radio. Not that wasn't funny at all. That was really sad.
Yeah.
On the radio when he was like, if it finishes like this, like, if it finishes like this, we don't win. And they were like, correct. And he was like, fuck. And then he was
Yeah.
like, how far is Carlos behind Lando? Like, he wanted that so bad.
And then at the end, he was like,
For
I wanted
Carlos.
it because it's Carlos's last year.
Yeah.
I was just like,
I
oh.
know, like, it wasn't even about P2.
I was like,
constructors. I mean,
Take
P3.
the knife. Put it in my heart.
I know, because he was like, that one hurt, like, I wanted that, like, it's all I wanted, like, to show Carlos, like,
No.
like, I was like, bruh.
Yeah, it was a lot. And he was so disappointed.
He was so, and even, like, on the podium and stuff, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
he
you
just
could
looked
tell.
depressed.
I know. You know what was kind of funny, actually? was after the actual podium, they were filming for the F1 movie. And clearly the winners the podium in Abu Dhabi in the F1 movie is Brad Pitt's character and then Charles Leclerc second and George Russell third. And so they had them do a fake podium that they filmed right after the real one.
I didn't see this. Charles would have been like,
And
get
Charles
me
was
out of
like-
here.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was so
The
funny.
poor guy.
For real.
He's not an actor.
No.
This is his job.
Yeah.
His livelihood's on the line here.
Yeah.
That's kind of really funny.
I know. But yeah, so I did shed a little tear for all of
Yes.
the, like, Charlos love.
Yeah.
Which was very sweet. And, like,
Lando C-squared podium.
so cute.
Perfect.
And I actually feel a bit more emotional though about all the Lewis stuff.
Yeah.
And like hearing his little speech to Bono and like Toto
Super
getting on the
cute,
radio and then he got out of his car just like kneeling beside it
Yeah.
and obviously seeing him do the donuts was very,
Very
cool.
fun, yeah.
But yeah, end of an era.
I know. It's kind of crazy. Like, I said this to my family. I was like, it's really a kind of strange feeling, like, knowing that we're seeing such an end of an era, but being newer fans, not having experienced the era.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, I know what this is.
Yes.
Like, I'm mentally, like, I'm aware of it,
Yeah.
but I'm not emotionally invested in it. Like,
Yeah.
I am to the fact that I'm just like, oh, the cinema, the drama, the stories.
Yeah.
But, like, me personally, like, I'm
Yeah.
not.
Like I didn't sit through like a
In 7 world
decade
championships of
yeah.
Lewis Mercedes dominance.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a weird feeling.
Yeah.
A little bit for me.
Yes.
Because I'm very, like, not the most emotional person, but I get very emotionally invested in sports.
Yeah.
So, like, this is normally something that I'd be like, oh!
I know.
But I wasn't here.
Yeah.
But anyway, I
I
think
don't
we
know.
need to hurry up a little bit.
Yeah, we do. I think I sent you that meme that was like me when I'm like tearing up watching like 20 rich men going around in circles when I couldn't tell you any of their names like 10 months ago. I was like, that's Evie. And me 24 months ago.
Correct. But now...
So now here we are.
Yeah.
We gotta speed this up.
I've got some fun facts for you.
Amazing. I have some too.
Ooh. Do you want to go first?
Sure. I'll do one, then you can
Okay.
do one, then I'll
Yeah.
do one. Alright, so my first fun fact is that since the 2022 Singapore Grand Prix,
Mm-hmm.
Max Verstappen has won more championships than Perez has won races. Max has won 3 championships in that time. Lewis has won, Perez has won
2 races.
2 races. So I thought that was very funny.
That is really funny. I did see something about that.
Yeah,
That's quite funny.
I know. Your turn.
My fun fact is we know that Oscar
Mm-hmm.
has completed 100% of racing laps this year.
Yes.
And when he got hit by Max, I was like, no! I was first of all like the McLaren World Constructors Championship. And then I was like, the stat, because I've got some other facts for you.
Yes.
First of all, caveat to him finishing 100% of racing laps this year. It's also the longest season ever.
Yes.
So in my opinion, more impressive.
Yes.
Do you know the other people who have ever completed 100% of racing laps in a
I do
year?
not.
Michael Schumacher,
Mhm.
2002 season.
Wow.
Lewis Hamilton,
Mm-hmm.
2019 season.
Mm-hmm.
Max Verstappen, 2023 season.
Wow.
They all won the World Championship that year.
Interesting.
That's what I was
There you go.
But, like, that's the people that Oscar is in company with now.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's slay.
Love that.
Anyway.
Well, my second useless stat is something that may not impress you.
Mm-hmm.
Or any Lando fans.
Oh,
I have
no.
some bad news.
Oh, fuck.
So for drivers who have finished second to
Oh,
Max, in the Drivers' Championship, so far have finished the following year 5th or worse in the drivers' standings and did not get a race win the following year. So in 2021, obviously Lewis came second to Max. So 2022, Lewis finished 6th in the Drivers' Championship, didn't win any races, and Charles came second compared to Max.
Mm-hmm.
2022, Charles finished 5th in the World Championship, did not get any race wins. Perez came... No, sorry.
Yeah, no,
I'm
you're
confusing
right.
myself.
No, you're right.
No, sorry, I said 2022. 2023, Charles finished 5th, didn't
Yes.
get any race wins, and Perez came second in the Drivers' Championships. This year,
We all know what happened to Perez.
finished 8th in the Drivers' Championship, didn't win any races, and now Lando has come second to Max.
I have a fact to combat this.
Okay.
It's not every time
Mm-hmm.
But frequently, the person in recent years, the person who wins Abu Dhabi wins the next year's World Championship.
Interesting.
Fact to combat your fact.
True. Curses, like...
Yeah, I know. It's like all of the, like... yeah, everything.
The juju.
Lando's just gonna get in the middle and it's either gonna go really well or really bad.
That's so funny.
Or, like, maybe he'll just, like, cruise and come second and, like, get a few race wins and, like,
True.
finish
And
fourth or something.
Charles Leclerc, world champion.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
I have another fact, and apart from attacking your driver, I have something fun for you and your Ferrari-ness.
Wow.
Charles and Carlos, as a Ferrari pairing,
Yes.
have had more 1-2 finishes than any other Ferrari pairing since Raikkonen and Massa.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I don't know how many, but
They were, I would say, the best driver pairing on the grid.
yeah, dare I say.
Yeah.
Also with the frequently good car.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, so I thought you'd like that.
I love that.
I also need to acknowledge Pierre Gasly's new record
Yes.
of, it's kind of something that people have been aware of as the season's gone on, but he's officially the first person ever to not do a single dollar of damage in an F1 season.
That is insane. Like, obviously, he had his moment in, was it Qatar or Vegas, where his
Engine blew.
Engine blew, but
Yeah,
that was not his
Vegas.
fault.
And there was a few, like he had like a technical DNS.
Yeah.
I think it was like, oh God, I can't even remember. But like around the time of Singapore,
Yeah.
I would say. Somewhere around there. I'm picturing the track, but I don't. But like he had like a few DNFs and DNSs, but none of them were him
as a driver causing the damage. It
Or
was like
even
the
just getting
car
hit.
had a yeah.
like
Yeah.
drivers causing damage. Like it's like them, but also not them getting hit.
He got hit in Monaco, didn't he? When SD
But he
Vespi went
Oh,
hit him.
So
But
I
he
don't
must
think
not
it's
have
had
had that.
damage then,
maybe, yeah.
because I know he finished the race.
Yeah. No, I know you finished the race, but I just don't know if
Yeah,
it's
SD went wee.
Yeah. But I just don't know if it's like
Yeah, that's a really good point. I don't actually know.
Yeah, people in the
But
comments. will
still,
tell us.
to not like, and frequently starting in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, that's a dangerous place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway,
Those are my facts.
let's do our awards, shall we?
Yes.
Biggest winner,
It's got to be McLaren World Constructors Championship.
Lando and McLaren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
There's literally no other option.
Yeah, absolutely. The only other backup one I had was Lewis, and just the fact that that was the confidence drive he needed going into the winter break.
Yeah. And now that you're hashtag Team LH officially, you
Officially.
need that.
So true.
You're jumping on the bandwagon.
Red baby.
Yes,
Let's go.
you're one of us now.
Biggest losers.
A little bit Oscar.
Yeah.
More of a backup one, but like he's still McLaren, so bad drive aside, not bad drive, unfortunate circumstances aside, still a sleigh.
Yes.
But like some of the people who are leaving in like Bottas, Franco, even Perez to a degree, if he is leaving, for all of them to DNF and all of them to be someone who potentially aren't going to be here next year,
Yeah.
a
Brutal.
bit rough.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Silliest surprise.
I have two.
Mm-hmm.
K-Mag fastest lap.
Yeah.
I mean, he
It
put the
was
soft
very-
tire on.
It
at
was
the
very
end.
Danny Rick of
Yeah, I loved
send
it.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, like, slay.
Yeah.
Put the soft tire on, like, just have some fun.
Yep.
And Yannick Sinner being the flag waver.
I thought you would like that. I was like, oh my god, Evie's.
Yeah. I was like, oh, hey.
Yes.
I see you, Mr. World number 1.
Yes.
Get in.
When two worlds collide.
Yes, we love.
Yes.
Love
I
Yannick
agree.
Sinner. Big
My-
Yannick Sinner fan.
Yes. My silly surprise was Charles's entire first lap.
Yeah.
The silliest of surprises.
Yeah.
Biggest meme. Obviously, we've said a few already.
Yeah. Yeah, my main one was that one about Paris.
Yeah, that was a good one.
One of them what I was loving before the race weekend was Lando just like stoking the fire
Yeah.
with Max and George.
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
I don't want
It was
to
like-
sort it out.
Yeah, literally. And like being like, yeah, the two people that you thought were sitting opposite from each other, like on the post. I'm like, you don't need to do that. I was loving that.
Max commenting like
Beef? Yeah. The steak emoji.
Yeah.
And also like there was a lot of memes that I saw about, like, Max being Ferrari's driver of the day.
Yeah, literally.
So
like, the
just all of
epitome
those.
of, like, everybody is a Ferrari fan.
But I saw, like, a driver of the day graphic with, like, Max in a Ferrari.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
I agree. I just love, like, there were just so many good team radios. Like,
Yeah.
Yuki being like, why?
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, when Charles was just like, fuck, like, hearing how
like,
far away.
how far is Carlos from Lando? And just beep!
Yeah,
It's like,
literally. That was very funny. And also Charles, like, woohooing, like Mario. He got told that he was up into P8. So that was just very funny.
Yeah.
But, yeah, those were mine.
Loved that.
Your favourite moment?
I think you're going to be so shocked when I say this. The McLaren celebrations
Yeah.
and, like, Lando after the race.
Yeah.
Like, just being so happy.
I know.
And, like, because even when he's had wins, like, his last couple of wins, he's just been like, yeah, nice one, like, you, like, go in. He was, like, sounded like the Lando that would, like, scream at being P3.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, yeah, like, get in, like, let's go, like,
Yeah.
love you guys, like,
Yeah.
all of this. And then just, like, even, like, Zach Brown on the podium, and,
Yeah.
like, Andrea Stella being like, "Ee!" And the, like, the post that McLaren did of, like, Oscar and Lando, like, both drinking the thing, and it was, like, twinning and winning. I was like,
Yeah, it's
like-
so dude.
they are my boys. I was like, let's go. And even, like, in the photo, Oscar's got his, like, little arm, like, on Lando's back, and they're just, like, having a blast. All of just, like, the videos and photos, like, of
Yeah.
the McLaren team, like, afterwards with, like, spraying the champagne
So
and...
cute. I love
the whole
that, like,
thing.
the McLaren, like, pit crew and the Ferrari pit
Yeah.
crew, like, had their little, like, celebration together and were, like, hugging, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, well,
So
too
cute. I know. What about you?
My favourite moment was, I think, just, like, the team radios after the race, particularly
Yeah.
from, like, Carlos, Charles, and Lewis.
Yeah.
Like, just... their
Even
little-
Charles's depresso?
Well, just like him talking about Carlos, like
Yeah,
thanking him,
just, like,
and just it was just like no, it was just a whole like moment. I think like particularly Toto being like that was a driver world
Yeah.
champion. It was just so like sweet, like and just like you know if we can't win, like we
You
hope we
should,
do,
yeah.
and it was very similar to like I think what he told Valtteri, like when Valtteri left, and just very sweet.
Speaking of,
Mm.
Bottas, apparently, now that he's officially out of Sauber, was like chatting shit. He was like, if I could redo the last 3 years, I wouldn't do them at Sauber. Like, fully was just like, I regret going to
Fair
Sauber.
enough.
But like, immediately after. Not even like a few years retired. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, I regret going to Sauber. I should never have gone there. Like, worst 3 years of my life. I don't think he said that, but.
That's funny.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
Whoa.
I was like, at least say, but love Joe. Like,
Yeah. Shout outs. Anyways, who was your driver of the day?
Charles.
Yes.
I agree with the people.
Yes.
Obviously Lando, like,
Yes. Just drove.
just drove really
perfectly.
well. But I want to give a shout out to a man who's been going through it. Alex Albon.
Yeah.
P11. I
So
wanted him to get
close.
points, but it was kind of the same with, like, the Bottas points last week and me wanting Lando to get it.
Yeah.
Like, Oscar overtook him and got the last points position.
Yeah.
But I was like, he's been going through it.
Yeah.
And to not even, like, finish the race, first and foremost, but to almost get points. And I know it's like P11, but still.
Yeah.
To finish the season with that for him in the last 2 months he's had,
Yeah.
I was like, shout out to him.
Yeah. I also just had Lewis.
Yeah.
Who's another, like, also
Yeah.
just a phenomenal
Great
driver.
drive.
But, yeah, I think that kind of wraps
Yeah, I was going to
up.
say, and looking forward to next time,
I know.
there is no next race.
There's no next race.
I was going to say, there is no next time. Podcast is done.
Yeah. No, so obviously we will be back for 2025, but
Yes.
we will have plenty of content to fill the time.
Yes.
We're gonna do a post-season review.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone,
Really liked our mid-season review.
Yeah.
So, post-season reviews on the cards,
yes. So keep your eye out for that.
and just some other fun F1 related
Yeah.
content across multiple channels. And I feel like in the break, our content generally doesn't vary too much, like platform to platform.
Yeah.
But I feel like with things that we
Yeah, we've
have
got some fun
planned.
stuff planned. So make sure you're following us across like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok because
Yeah.
we post a whole bunch of stuff
and
on
yeah,
different places.
I think it's going to vary a lot more than it does currently as well.
Yeah.
So
But the countdown begins.
Oh, I know. Oh, what am I meant to do with my
I
time?
know. It's like
What the hell?
7 days or something.
I know. But I hope all of the drivers and teams, not that any of them are going to be watching, but
I
I
know.
hope they will have a really relaxing break,
Yes.
winter break with their families.
Yes.
Get some rest.
Yeah.
I know that the people in the factory are going to be like straight back to it quite quickly, but
yes.
I hope that everyone gets some good sleep, catches up on their jet lag,
Yes.
and yeah, just has a good bit of time off.
Yes.
And everyone watching as well. I mean, we'll see you very shortly. This isn't like the sign off for the year yet. Like,
no. We will still be back shortly,
shortly. Yeah.
but
Don't want to
we'll catch
say
you
a
then.
date because who knows.
Who knows?
But it will be soon.
yes.
But yeah, if you're listening, I was going to say on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, thank God.
Yes.
Give us a 5-star review if you enjoyed it because it really helps us out and it makes us happy. And if you're watching on YouTube, like the video, leave us a comment, tell us your thoughts
Yeah.
of the race, the season, any content suggestions that you want to see.
Yeah.
Open to suggestions.
Drop some useless stats.
Yes. Give us
Love
some
a
useless
useless
stats. Yeah, I actually love a useless stat. I think it's like my favorite podcast segment.
Yeah.
Like I love it.
For real.
And subscribe because we're going to be posting a lot more than just podcasts on YouTube. So
Stay
have that
tuned.
little Easter egg. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Bye.